All right, this was kind of a defining moment for the unrest in Portland. Social media helped this video spread all over the world last September of someone throwing a Molotov cocktail into a crowd of people and almost hitting police officers. Now, that was 6 months ago, and police, they say they finally think they may know who threw it. An investigative reporter, Kyla Boshi, found out their suspect has quite a backstory.
An Indiana man is facing the most serious charges yet related to last summer's violent protests in Portland. Prosecutors charged Malik Muhammad with 26 felony counts, including attempted aggravated murder for allegedly throwing Molotov cocktails at police. In one case, court records suggest investigators link Muhammad to this Molotov cocktail thrown toward a police vehicle during a September 21st protest at the old Southeast Precinct. A nearly identical Molotov cocktail was used just 2 days later, say prosecutors, during a demonstration near the Justice Center in downtown Portland. Prosecutors believe Muhammad threw the burning bottle, which exploded into a fireball, scorching one officer's uniform. Additionally, police believe Muhammad used a metal baton to smash out windows at the Oregon Historical Society, Portland State, and other businesses during a riot on October 11th. Muhammad was arrested on several gun charges, but that case was dismissed. The charges have now been reinstated along with new, more serious counts, and on Monday, Muhammad appeared in an Indianapolis courtroom after his arrest. Muhammad told the judge, "These charges are completely brand new to me. They had a slew of other trumped-up charges that they just recently dropped, and then all of this happened." Muhammad's mother told KGW her son traveled to Portland to participate in protests after having led various rallies in Indiana last summer. Muhammad made headlines after helping to defuse a tense standoff between police and demonstrators in Indianapolis by hugging a police lieutenant, then walking arm in arm.
I never in a million years thought I would embrace a cop like that.
And days after that exchange, Muhammad had a private meeting with Indiana's governor, according to an Indianapolis TV station.
Here he was speaking with Wish TV outside the gate after a long discussion with Governor Eric Holcomb about a legislative agenda and other priorities.
Portland police worked with various agencies, including the FBI, on this months-long investigation to try and track down a man investigators say is responsible for some of the most significant incidents of violence and destruction during last summer's protests.
Okay, Kyla Boshi joining us now. Kyle, first, I kind of want to give people an idea of what it's like to do your job. I think they often think that these stories just get handed to us and somebody says, cover this. But this was a process kind of following up on this specific case.
Yeah, and it does involve a lot of digging. It originally came from one of our savvy producers who said, I wonder whatever happened to one of these cases, particularly the vandalism at the Oregon Historical Society. So she reached out, made some phone calls, and ultimately a source told us this is a very active investigation. In fact, we anticipate an arrest in the next few days. I started working it, found out that it actually focused on a suspect back in Indiana who had a really interesting backstory, continued to make calls and follow up, and then ultimately leading to his arrest. And he was in court today, and now you see the story.
I think one thing people will find really interesting is the FBI's involvement in this case. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, there were a lot of agencies involved in this months-long investigation. But to your point, I was really fascinated to learn about the role the FBI played. In the court documents, it talked in several instances how plainclothes FBI agents were in that crowd of demonstrators, and helped to identify and also lead to the arrest, at least in this case, of Mr. Muhammad. So clearly, not only is it local police that are involved, but the feds have a heavy presence as well.
Got it. Kyla Boshi, as always, thank you.